Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. My name is Matt. I know this podcast is quite new, but some of you have been following along for a while now. As you may have noticed, the narrator has changed a couple of times already, in just a few months. The truth is, the podcast has been growing extremely slow, and basically nobody has left us any reviews so far. I'm here as the new voice of the podcast and would love to stick around, but I need your support to do so. Please, if you enjoy our content, it would mean so much to us if you could just leave us a review on whichever podcast platform you use. Now, take a deep breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. Tonight, you are invited to embark on a peaceful journey through the tranquil streets of Florence, where a secret rose maze awaits. In this soft bedtime story, you will be guided into a space of relaxation as you discover a place that seems woven from dreams and perfumed with the gentle scent of roses. Here, in the deep hush of the Florentine night, you will find an oasis of quiet and wonder. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and feel the cool air glide gently down into your lungs. Let it fill you with a sense of calm. As you exhale, imagine releasing all the tension from your body, watching it drift away like a faint wisp of cloud crossing a moonlit sky. Once more, inhale deeply, letting the day's worries soften and dissolve. Then exhale, envisioning each worry vanishing into the distance until you are left with soft, serene stillness. Notice your shoulders dropping, your jaw loosening, your brow relaxing. Each breath envelops you in a cocoon of warmth. The subtle hush of evening encourages you to settle deeper into this moment, as if every gentle inhale pulls you closer to a realm of quiet enchantment. Let your heartbeat slow in tandem with your breathing, a gentle lullaby of life's most natural rhythm. Envision yourself standing on a cobblestone path in old Florence. Above, the sky glimmers with faint stars that peek through the soft glow of street lamps. You can sense the romantic aroma of blooming flowers drifting through the balmy air. Tonight, you will explore a secret garden, a hidden rose maze, where time seems suspended, and the only sound you hear is the gentle echo of your own breath. The story now unfolds in a soothing tapestry of calm, inviting you to relax and to listen without rushing or pressing forward, but simply allowing the words to guide you on a slow journey. Under the languid Florentine moonlight, a visitor walked the quiet streets with calm intent. This traveller had arrived earlier in the day, seeking respite from a bustling life that seemed to grow louder with every passing hour. There was a gentle curiosity in the traveller's eyes, a readiness to be enveloped by the city's secrets, ancient stones and hidden gardens. Florence, with its timeless architecture and hushed corners, welcomed the traveller with open arms. The air carried remnants of old stories whispered through centuries, stories shared across time, from the tall bell towers to the shadowy nooks tucked behind ornate doors. Wandering alone in the starlit evening, the traveller felt the city's pulse, a soft thrum of wonder that beckoned them down winding streets and past glowing lanterns that cast gentle halos on the walls. For some, Florence's charm dwells in its grand cathedrals. For others, in the majestic art that seems to spill from every corner. But for this traveller, it was something more ethereal, a feeling of quiet anticipation, as though each path might lead to a realm beyond the ordinary. The traveller had heard whispered rumours among locals about a secret rose maze hidden near a rarely visited courtyard. It was said to be accessible only if one knew where to look. Intrigued by the mystery, the traveller decided to search for it, drawn by the promise of roses blooming in silent elegance under the Tuscan sky. The traveller's footsteps fell softly along cobblestones, worn smooth by centuries of footfall. Each step brought a gentle echo, as if the ancient streets recognized and welcomed a fellow dreamer. Down narrow alleys illuminated by lantern light, the traveller took pleasure in observing old door knockers shaped like lion heads and pastel shutters that looked almost weightless in the moonlit hush. Pausing at a small cafe closed for the evening, the traveller caught a faint fragrance. A drift of rose petals, perhaps. Closing their eyes for a moment, the traveller breathed in the floral sweetness, letting the gentle scent guide them further. The city night was otherwise quiet, as if each building held its breath to allow the rose's perfume to lead the way. Continuing onward, the traveller followed the softest whisper of fragrance. Time felt slow, not in the sense of dragging, but as if it lovingly stretched itself into each fleeting moment of delight. Eventually, the traveller discovered an unassuming door set into a moss-flecked wall. Its wooden surface was decorated with carved vines and roses, nearly faded from the time and weather. A small iron latch rested on the door, inviting a curious hand to test its weight. With a faint creak, the door opened onto an inner courtyard lit by flickering candle lanterns. A stone fountain gurgled softly in the center, water trickling from the mouth of a cherubic figure. Beyond that fountain lay another archway, covered with climbing roses. Their petals, touched by moonlight, glowed in white and pale pink. The traveller took a tentative step forward, heart gently thrumming, drawn by the faint echoes of a tranquil place. There, in the cool hush of the courtyard, the night air was plush with the scent of roses. After crossing the courtyard, the traveller reached the arch of roses, which was twined so thickly that only glimmers of moonlight seeped through. Beyond it, there appeared to be a narrow passage. Stepping under the arch, the traveller found a path lined with low, neatly trimmed rose hedges. The hedges parted into corridors that twisted and turned, forming a labyrinth of delicate blooms. Each step into the maze felt like a descent into a fairy tale. The moon's glow threaded delicately through breaks in the foliage, illuminating patches of stone walkway scattered with fallen petals. The labyrinth was hushed, except for the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. It felt like a realm made purely for dreaming, suspended in softness, cradled by the song of petals rustling against each other. As the traveller wandered deeper into this secret garden, they noticed Each section of the maze had a slightly different variety of rose. One turn might be lined with lavish red blooms that looked like velvet shadows in the dim light. Another passage might unfurl pale yellow roses with soft, curling petals reminiscent of sunrise. A distant turn carried a breath of lilac-tinted roses, so faint that they appeared silver under the moon. Each variety offered its own perfume, a subtle shift in fragrance that guided the senses onward, deeper into the labyrinth's heart. The traveller paused at times to gently run a hand along a flowering branch. The petals felt like the lightest silk, so thin and delicate they were almost translucent in the moon's glow. In the soft gloom, the traveller's eyes took in these hidden wonders, body attuned to the subtle, comforting hush that blanketed the maze. Time moved differently here, measured by the languid blossoming of roses and the traveller's slow, deliberate breaths. Occasionally, the traveller would come across a small clearing within the maze. Each clearing held a simple wooden bench, shaped and smoothed by years of quiet visitation. Ivy clung to the bench legs as if nature was trying to enfold it entirely. One clearing featured a tiny statue of a Florentine artisan, frozen in an expression of gentle contentment, like a host welcoming guests to this elusive sanctuary. The statue's features, though worn by time, suggested a dedication to craftsmanship and the beauty of simple serenity. Another clearing had a little marble pedestal upon which a single candle glowed, surprisingly shielded by the still night air from being snuffed out. The candle's flame flickered, and in its tremulous light, the petals nearby shimmered like living dreams. As the traveller continued to explore, an ethereal sense of guidance filled the air, as if some friendly spirit gently steered them along, ensuring no dead ends halted the journey. The rustling of the hedges in the mild breeze sounded almost like whispers, hushed, encouraging, and always pleasant. This was not a maze designed to frustrate or confound. Rather, it was a place built for gentle wandering, for discovering beauty in the winding paths of the unknown. At each turn, a new surprise awaited, whether a cluster of blooms tinted in unearthly pastel, or a small stone plaque etched with poetic lines about love, life, and dreams. Eventually, the traveller found a central space, a small circular courtyard at the very heart of the maze. In this hidden heart, tall rose bushes circled a quiet marble fountain whose edges were adorned with intricate designs of ivy and blossoms. The fountain's water glimmered in the moonlight, reflecting 1,000 swaying petals overhead. Lily pads drifted lazily on its surface, each sporting a sleeping water lily, whose petals were folded like little hands in prayer. The hush in this clearing was profound. It was an enveloping, comforting silence, as if the entire garden was holding its breath in reverence. At the edge of this courtyard, tucked into a gentle curve of vines, stood a wooden gazebo with open lattice walls. It was fashioned from pale wood that bore signs of age and care. Soft lines etched into the beams, gentle arcs shaped like unfolding flowers. Over it draped climbing roses with silky petals. Night's quiet hush was punctuated by the distant trickle of the fountain's water. It was a place one could rest and let time melt into stillness. Drawn to the gazebo's peaceful aura, the traveller entered its quiet space. Inside, a stone bench had been placed, as if waiting for any curious soul to pause and simply be. Thick, lush cushions adorned the bench, inviting repose. The traveller sank down slowly, feeling the deep sigh of relief as muscles relaxed and a calm wave coursed through every inch of the body. Overhead, the lattice openings framed the night sky in soft geometry, the trailing vines forming playful patterns of shadow and moonlight. A gentle breeze meandered through, carrying the perfume of countless roses. The traveller allowed eyes to drift shut, listening to the water's soft murmur in the fountain and the tender rustle of leaves. The hush wasn't empty. It was alive with the softness of living things, the quiet exhalation of blossoms leaning toward the starry sky. In this secret garden, the traveller felt cradled by a presence both old and nurturing, as if centuries of quiet reflection still resonated among the hedges and petals. Gradually, an image came to the traveller, unbidden yet welcome, a sense of drifting on a small cloud within the garden's walls, each breath harmonizing with the pulse of slow, gentle water. No troubles intruded here. Worries seemed to dissolve like mist under the gentle morning sun. Indeed, it was not even morning, but night held no fear, only a plush serenity that guided every breath toward a deeper relaxation. After some moments of quiet reflection, the traveller's curiosity returned. Rising from the bench, they began a slow circle around the garden centre, taking in every delicate feature, the shape of each rose petal, the subtle patterns on the fountain's marble, the swaying hush of the vines overhead. Every detail felt both intimate and infinite, as if this small courtyard contained entire worlds of wonder in each fragile bloom. Soft footfalls circled back to the entrance of the little clearing, where a gentle beckoning from the labyrinth's path suggested there was more to discover. So the traveller wandered on, guided by the labyrinth's subtle logic, which seemed always to lead somewhere special. With each turn, the traveller found new corners, a patch of climbing roses weaving up an ancient trellis, an alcove where jasmine vines entwined with the roses, lending an extra sweetness to the hush of night. At one corner of the maze, the traveller came upon a low set of marble steps. They were nearly hidden by a tumble of dark pink roses that cascaded like a waterfall of petals. On either side, weathered statues of guardians, draped in vines and clusters of blooms, seemed to encourage quiet passage. The steps led to a small, elevated terrace that overlooked a portion of the labyrinth below. From this vantage point, one could glimpse the mosaic-like patterns formed by carefully arranged hedges. Pale blossoms glowed in the moonlight like constellations woven into the earth. Standing there, the traveller sensed a gentle shift in the air, as if the entire garden breathed along with them in an unhurried rhythm. a soft hush that seemed to murmur, "Slow down, rest, dream." Eventually, the traveller descended back into the maze, following the labyrinth's winding corridors, lit by the faint luminescence of night. Any sense of direction or time was now fluid, guided only by the allure of new scents, new colours, and the tender hush that enveloped each step. The path carried the traveller around a gentle bend, past another archway, and into a section of rose bushes that glowed with pale blush petals. Here, the traveller paused, enraptured by the hushed radiance of these flowers. Delicate blossoms, so faintly tinted they seemed almost white, caught the moon's rays and transformed them into an otherworldly luminescence. The traveller reached out, and a single petal fell lightly into the open palm, a soft kiss from the garden itself. This was a moment that felt suspended in time, like a lullaby cradled within ancient walls and drifting petals. Continuing on, the traveller discovered more hidden wonders. A small statue of a nightingale, perched on a rose branch, so skillfully carved that, in the moonlight, one might imagine it about to burst into song. A tucked-away bench under a trailing willow, where the hush was so deep it felt like stepping into a dream within a dream, and a tiny stone well, partially overtaken by climbing vines, with a rope and old bucket that seemed more decorative than functional. Yet no part of the garden exuded menace or unease. Instead, there was an abiding sense of benevolence, as though every petal, every leaf, had been arranged to welcome those in search of solace. The labyrinth seemed to invite quiet exploration, gently slowing the racing thoughts of any who wandered within. It was a place designed to cradle midnight reveries and lull the restless heart into deep serenity. In time, the traveller happened upon a discreet exit from the maze, another ancient door set in the far wall. It was fashioned with graceful iron scrollwork that mirrored the curvature of blossoming vines. Though the traveller felt content to remain in this midnight sanctuary forever, curiosity guided them to open the door. Beyond it, they stepped into a small, moonlit orchard where olive trees stood like silent sentinels beneath the starry sky. A meandering gravel path led deeper into the orchard, flanked by occasional rose shrubs that seemed to have wandered beyond the maze. Under the shade of an old olive tree, whose trunk was twisted with age and wisdom, the traveller spied a low wooden table on which a simple ceramic carafe sat. Next to it rested a single clay cup. The carafe contained cool spring water, infused with gentle hints of mint and rose petals. The traveller poured a cup, took a sip, and savoured the soothing water as it slid softly down the throat, refreshing and cleansing, as if the garden itself had prepared this small gift. Further along the orchard's path, there was a comfortable nook of grass that felt surprisingly lush beneath the traveller's feet. Night sky opened wide overhead, showcasing more stars than one might notice within the city's glow. The traveller lay down there, gazing up at the celestial tapestry. The orchard, the labyrinth, Florence itself, all were quiet. Leaves overhead rustled, sounding like a lullaby from the ancient trees. The ground exuded a gentle warmth, as if the sun's memory was still tucked within the earth's embrace, now shared in a soft hush of comfort. The traveller closed tired eyes, letting the distant fragrance of roses and the hushed cradle of wind lull them into a peaceful reverie. Time slipped effortlessly here, each moment drifting into the next like the slow weave of a comforting blanket. Lying on this patch of grass, with only moonlight and starlight to illuminate the orchard, the traveller felt a deep sense of belonging. The mind began to wander in daydream-like visions, weaving soft memories with new impressions. The luminous rose petals, the echo of gentle water in the fountain, and the sense of being cherished by the garden's age-old serenity. At length, the traveller stirred. Rising slowly, they made their way back toward the stone path that led from the orchard to the labyrinth's door. Stepping again into that delicate maze, the traveller felt the hush wrap around them like an old friend, guiding them gently out the way they had come. Each turn felt familiar now, each arch a comforting passage, each rosebush an embrace of petals. Eventually, the traveller found the carved wooden door in the outer courtyard, still slightly ajar. The fountain in the courtyard remained a quiet companion, softly flowing, seemingly untouched by time. With one last glance at the moonlit, rose-lined arch, the traveller stepped out through the moss-grown door. There, beyond the old wall, the Florentine night remained silent and timeless, lamplight shimmering in the distance like gentle fireflies. Though the city streets beckoned with the promise of more wonders, the traveller felt a deep peace, as though they carried a piece of that secret rose maze within them. The hush of the blossoms had become a part of their breath, and the restful calm of that hidden sanctuary now glowed quietly in the traveller's heart. And so, the traveller drifts through the old Florentine streets, carrying the memory of that secret garden's serenity. Each step feels lighter, each inhalation softer. The night's cool air whispers against tired muscles, offering a gentle caress of restfulness. The labyrinth of roses has shared its grace, weaving calm into body and mind. In the stillness of this moment, breath slows, thoughts settle like petals floating onto a glassy pond. Any flicker of tension melts away, replaced by the warm lull of deep relaxation. The traveller's eyelids grow heavy, as though weighted by the gentle hush of the garden's secrets. Within the tranquil memory of that hidden sanctuary, a deep peace resonates. It envelops every worry, every care. A sense of acceptance and quiet well-being blossoms, as natural and vital as the rose petals themselves. The mind surrenders to the cradle of sleep, drifting into a place where the hush of leaves and the soft swirl of moonlit fragrance promise only rest. There, in the inner landscape of dreams, the traveller finds the echo of the fountain's murmur and feels the ghostly touch of silken petals. Each breath deepens, leading into profound stillness. The traveller, now free from the constraints of time, floats along a gentle current of calm, drifting further and further into the soft realms of repose. A quiet hush folds around the city. The traveller's thoughts become gentle wisps, dissolving into the nighttime sky. The hush of the rose maze stands guard, a comforting whisper in the distance, guiding all tensions to fade into the quiet darkness. As slumber beckons, the traveller yields to its tender invitation, descending into a dreamlike calm that carries them safely through the night. Good night, dear traveller. Sleep well.